Hi, Uncivilized Vitality. It's Dr. Morey. We're back on YouTube channel now. We're making videos. I had to take the month of November off from posting videos because we had purchased the new building and moved my my practice to a new location, and then Uncivilized Vitality had to move with me, of course. And it's the middle of the semester and midterms and everything. I was just honestly was just too busy to get enough videos done and up. So now we're back. And this quick video is to let you know we're back. This will post this Monday, December 2nd, 3rd, 4th, December 4th, in time for Christmas, and remind you of the upcoming Uncivilized Vitality local Genesee County Turtles Christmas party and the UV Kids that launches in 2024. The Christmas party is coming up in lieu of the monthly meeting in December. So if you're in the area, make sure you take part in that. Check the Facebook or the, I'm not sure where Caitlin posts those things, honestly. But anyway, it's on the 13th, second Wednesday of the month as usual. It'll be a potluck. We're having a raffle. There will be a couple of the Uncivilized Vitality ADC knives up for raffle. There will be books, and I have gifts for Turtle members, and then food, and then we're going to talk about, the teaching will be about how to stay warm in the winter. So we're moving into the winter camping and campaign season. I'm going to make announcements about the different events next year, 2024. Our marquee event was going to be the 4-day hike along Lake Superior, Pictured Rocks, but we've altered it slightly. We're going to be going someplace a little different. We're going to be doing some cave exploring and spelunking. We're going to take a dip in the largest freshwater lake, the coldest, Lake Superior. We're going to do a visit and stay at a dark park. And some quite challenging hiking as well. Talk more about that at the party. Speaking of Christmas is coming up. If you're looking for stocking stuffers, last minute gifts, picking up Uncivilized Vitality Volume 1 Handbook, which as of Monday, the 4th of December, should be available in the ebook version as well. We're still working on an Audible version for next year. And then Volume 2 will be ready April 2024, I hope. I'm not really sure yet. And Volume 2 will be the Fieldcraft. Volume 3, the 13 philosophical tenets, will not be out until December next year. But we are in the new place. I'm going to apologize about the lighting because I bet it is not good, or the sound. I have to pick up some new lights and microphones and such for these videos, and a bigger whiteboard for the background. But this is where we'll be shooting the videos now, and I've got some apparatus set up so we can do some more of the not videos, and hopefully those will come out a little better. But we are back, so this is the welcome back video. They're still going to come out twice a week, Mondays and Thursdays at 9 a.m. I'll try to put 2 or 3 videos up a week. Going through the various Uncivilized Vitality information, the 5 vital paths and information there, the fieldcraft and tools, and any kind of events we have coming on. And then some reviews and what would you call it? Pictures after some of our campaigns. So when we go on an event, we'd like to put something up so people can see what they missed, not going out camping with us, or what they can look forward to in the next one. And or anything funny we catch, at camp and on these wild adventures. Always a good time. The other thing is you will start seeing in 2024 some, we're going to expand the content on the YouTube channel. We're at almost 1,000 subscriptions. That's really good. The whole point of the YouTube channel is to get this thing going with content that people that do the Uncivilized Vitality are interested in, or other people can glean some good from, and then we can monetize the channel to help support the Uncivilized Living Foundation, the charity. And every purchase of the books, Volume 1, 2, and 3, ebooks, Audible books, any of the books, also go to exclusively support the ULF, the charity that's set up to get people that otherwise wouldn't be able to out into the outdoors, get those unique benefits of outdoor experiences. So we'll talk about a little bit about what Uncivilized Vitality is and the fieldcraft part. If you haven't heard from me in a month, we practice, and this will be the subject of the upcoming Volume 2, Uncivilized Vitality, we practice fieldcraft. And I'd like to talk a little bit about what fieldcraft is, because sometimes people say, well, aren't you just a survivalist, right? Or some kind of prepper, right? Another term you'll hear a lot is bushcraft. And then you also have primitive skills. That's another large kind of category. And then this one's a little different, ultralight. So these are some of the other categories you can get with outdoors, outdoorsmen or outdoors people, activities. You hear them called survivalists or preppers, bushcraft, primitive, ultralight. These are a lot of the really big buzzwords on YouTube. Uncivilized Vitality, I teach Fieldcraft, especially with the turtles and some of the UV Kids program. Fieldcraft is different than these, and I'll explain that in a little bit. This is when, I'll explain it now. Fieldcraft, these are the things you'll need to use, the skills and knowledge you'll use when you're out on campaign or camping in the field. Campus is the word that means field. So you're being out afield, you're camping or on campaign, out in the campus in the wilds, and the field could be anywhere. Could be urban, could be northern Michigan woods, it could be the Pennsylvania hills, it could be the Appalachian Mountains, could be on the seashore. There's lots of places you can be out afield or out of your village or domicile or city, and you're going to need certain skills and knowledge and tools to be able to take care of yourself and make sure that you're happy and healthy. Which is a little bit different than a survivalist. This is a big word on YouTube. Everybody's a survivalist. Wants to teach you how to do survival. The 10 C's of survivability. Dave Canterbury is probably a great big one. The gray-bearded Green Beret, Waypoint Survival. I'm just trying to think of some of these. And then you get a lot of bushcraft community. Cold Cracker Bushcraft, I really enjoy that guy. This is bushcraft. I would think of that more as when you go out and you're using older tools like an axe and a saw, maybe an auger, and you're building chairs and shelters, and you're using the natural materials around you to provide things you need. And this is great to know bushcraft. However, we can't all go out and build wiki-ups and log cabins and dugout houses, because that uses up the materials in the common ground for everybody. We do that maybe in an emergency, and some small bushcrafty skills like carving a spoon or making a bowl or a windlass or a tripod. These things are important, and we do consider these skills under Fieldcraft. Back to the survivalist. I've always been of the opinion that survival is not really something that one needs to be taught beyond a very few basic skills and information. If I'm lost in the woods and I curl up around a tree and do not die until someone finds me, I'm a survivalist. It's just staying alive, and there's lots of ways you can do that. You can do that by the skin of your teeth and barely make it and you've survived, or you can do that because you carry every bit of equipment known to man and you're not really surviving, then you just had an accidental camping trip. So I don't mean to tease the survivalists too much, and these really are terms that get conflated, but there are some important distinctions. Preppers, this is kind of a pejorative term used to people that are foreseeing really, really hard times ahead, and they're preparing, right? So their whole world is about preparation. They got basements and bunkers full of 36 years worth of food and ammunition and water and building supplies and medical supplies and that sort of thing. That's great. That's good to do that. Uncivilized Vitality doesn't teach prepping or the prepping mindset. I guess the closest we'd have would be our PACE philosophical tenet, where we have a primary, alternative, contingency, and emergency plans. But we do teach you what to do if you get in an emergency situation, so-called survivalist or survival techniques. We do some preparation by being skilled and having the tools available. Bushcraft is sort of a collection of skills you can use out in the woods if you have the proper tools. Primitive skills, there used to be a channel called Primitive Technologies. That was great. He did everything the bushcrafting does. Who's that guy? Donnie. He was on one of the seasons of Alone. He's out, I think, in Colorado. He does primitive sort of bushcrafting. So instead of using a knife and a saw and an auger and an axe, they would use a sharp piece of stone to cut things, a digging stick. And they would do the same skills, but in a more primitive manner. Also part of Uncivilized Vitality's Fieldcraft are these two Primitive, sometimes we'll learn to start a fire or teach our members how to do fires with bow drills or flint and steel or more primitive methods. And then the ultralight, this would be, that's kind of skirting it. I went through an ultralight phase maybe 30 years ago where you're trying to pare down the weight of your gear. This doesn't fit in as much because one, if you got to carry 5 extra pounds, you know, suck it up. Be a little stronger, and then you could carry the weight. I'm not going to cut my toothbrush in half to save a few ounces. I'm also not going to spend $800 on a top-of-the-line quilt or down-filled top line or underquilt just so I can stay a little bit warmer and shave off a few ounces. I'll just throw an extra wool blanket in there. The weight is worth it at night when I'm snuggled up warm in my sleeping bag with my extra wool blanket, I think. So ultralight, it's a good idea. You do want to carry minimal gear, but let's not be too obsessive about it. And this is pretty expensive, so I don't do much with that. Not knocking the ultralight guys. It's sort of a niche area, but it is, let's face facts, more expensive for the most part to get that kind of gear to shave the weight off and get the performance. Primitive skills and bushcraft skills kind of go together. These are things that you could learn, and that kind of makes it fun being outdoors. Fun things to do. Prepping is sort of a mindset, along with survivalism, sort of a mindset. And all of this kind of falls under what we call fieldcraft, being out in the woods and being able to provide for yourself, for the things that you need to stay alive and happy and healthy. And to do that, like all humans throughout history, we've had 8 categories, is how I've categorized them, of tools. And these are tools that are just broad categories, and there are specific instances of each one that we use, but we can go through that. The first one is going to be your salt and needle kit. These are in no particular order today. A salt and needle kit refers to being able to take care of yourself and your gear, or your tools, or your material possessions. This is just basically going to represent your hygiene kit, your toilet kit, and first and foremost your trauma kit and your first aid or your boo-boo bag. You got to be able to take care of yourself because we organize tools according to the rule of 3s, and it says the first 3 minutes what must be attended to, any blocking of your breathing or any loss of blood or bleeding. So bleeding and breathing have to be attended to within 3 minutes. That should take priority over everything, which means salt and needle kit. Then you've got about 3 hours. The next thing you have to tend to is body temperature regulation. Then we get into some of the other videos like the 4 Horsemen of Misery, and you're going to want to have proper clothing, right? We say clothing or your cloth. And we have something called a morigami, which is going to be like a silk neckerchief. This can be used for a lot of things. I can put this on as a head covering, or wrap it around my neck to stay warm. I can make a bag out of it. It's a super versatile piece of kit. And clothing was probably our first bit of technology for primitive peoples. We put on skins and we used blankets to stay warm. This would also include things like sleeping bags and tarps or tents or ponchos. Anyway, you're going to be able to maintain that body temperature regulation for those 3 hours. Then you get up to 3 days, and that's going to be water and sleep. Those are the things you have to attend to, because you can only go about 3 days without hydration before you're in serious trouble. Same thing with sleep. Sleeping would fall under the clothing and the cloth, but then we're going to get into bags, bottles, and bowls or containers. Right? The next grouping of tools would be bags, bottles, or any kind of container, and bowls. You know, stuff you can keep things in. Things being primarily potable water. Being able, and this I definitely recommend some sort of stainless steel container, a canteen or a flask or a bottle, or preferably 2 of them, and or a cup or a bowl, something you can boil water in. And then a bag to carry it all in, which you can make out of your cloth. But so far, 3 sets of tools. And then some other tools you're going to want to have with you that humans have always used is to be able to cut and dig. Cut and dig. Knives, UV ADC knife, a small folding knife, a multi-tool, a belt knife, an axe or a tomahawk, a saw, a folding saw, some kind of hand trowel or shovel so you can move some earth. You need to be able to cut and dig. a lot of emphasis gets put on this one, this category of tools, and some of the other communities like the Survivalists or the Bushcrafters, they carry a lot of different tools, and this is where you get your big Rambo-sized knife-loving people end up in here. So this can be a variety of tools, sizes of knives and things, but you need tools that you can cut and dig and affect the landscape that way. You need to be able to bind things, and that is going to use knowledge of knots and cordage and rope. So just write cordage. Cordage, string, rope, cable, paracord, bank line, twine, anything you can tie. In UV we usually carry just a 12-foot piece of Paramax as a fast rope, and then a couple 6-foot chunks of paracord in our pocket. Now I've got all the cordage I need, maybe a roll of Gorilla Tape. But being able to tie and bind, human beings have used cordage and rope of all sorts for all manner of things from almost as long as we can remember. So having cordage is also very important, because from that, with your clothing and cloth, you can construct shelters, especially just a simple tarp or hammock shelter. You're going to want to have some way to produce fire and light, because it gets dark. At night, you can't necessarily function as well during the nighttime because we don't see well at night. We don't have a lot of night vision. So you can go all the way out, just make a torch or carry a candle, flashlight. Simplest thing to do is just to carry around a small headlamp. Rechargeable is good, maybe one with batteries, a small flashlight, maybe even just a snap the chem stick, shake it type of glow stick. Having some way to have light at night will help you, and it helps people psychologically when it gets dark. A lot of people get scared when you're out in the woods. Even though these don't have to be just out in the woods on campaign, these are things that you carry with you all the time. I always have a small pocket flashlight with me. Being able to start fire, you should never go out into the wilderness without at least 3 ways to start fire. So you have some redundancy there, because fire is so important for so many different things. As a tool, you can maintain, you can boil water, get clean water, you can stay warm at night, you can fend off predators, you can use it as signaling, you can use it just psychologically to help you get through a scary dark night. Lots of things you can use fire for, so being able to start that with a little tinder kit and 3 ways to start fire on your person is great. Or at the very least, when you walk around all day, you should carry some aspect of this tool family. Another tool that kind of comes in a set is the sling and spear category. I think I've got another video recently on the sling and spear. These are tools that you would use to defend yourself or hunt with, to procure food. So sling and spear would include things like, obviously, slings and spears, handguns, rifles, bow and arrows, atlatls, even a fishing rod would fall under sling and spear. Things you can use to protect yourself and or procure food by hunting, fishing, trapping, that sort of thing. Now you've got one last category of human tools in the Uncivilized Fieldcraft, and this is the book, which doesn't seem like a bushcraft or a prepper type of tool or a survivalist tool, but book category would stand for ways to record and disseminate information. And this is where you'd find your map and compass, your actual notebook, even your smartphone would fall under book. Ways that you can communicate over time and space with other people. So book category could have been as easy as just chiseling signals on rock or papyrus, or when you're out hiking and we get to a fork in a trail and I'm maybe a couple miles ahead of the rest of my party, the book would be just having the knowledge to lay down sticks and an arrow to show which fork I took. So these are the categories of a family of tools. Your salt and needle, taking care of yourself and your gear. Your clothing or cloth is to regulate body temperature. And then you're going to deal with potable water, which is going to be your next main item in any kind of bushcraft, out in the woods, or survival emergency situation. You need to control your bleeding and breathing, make sure you're not hurt. You need to control your body temperature. You need to get clean water and be able to sleep somewhere safe. To sleep somewhere safe and build a shelter, you might need to cut and dig or alter the landscape around you, which would take some cutting, digging, cordage. And then Then you'd get down to fire and light, sling and spear, and then the book. So those are our categories of tools. And then we have different, we'll do a video on that about the different lines that we order those in. Like your pockets and pouch, the things you carry with you every day, representatives of these families of tools. And then you got your bedroll level when you're just going out in the woods for 1 or 2 days or a few hours. And then you got your full gear level, which is like your pack. When you're going out for extended hike or extended day, you're going to be a little more comfortable. You carry more of these tools with you. And I think line 4 is just what we call anytime you camp, you go car camping or you've got kids. So there's going to be a few more items specifically to the 8 category of tools you want to have specifically along if you have children, especially kids that are pre-pubertal or small children, because they can't warm themselves up as well. So you need extra clothing, that sort of thing. All right, so we practice Fieldcraft and the Uncivilized Vitality. I'm going to talk specifically about some clothing at this upcoming December meeting, about how to stay warm when you're out camping, as we're getting into the winter campaign season. All right, so we're back on YouTube starting this week, and then I just sort of rambled on about tools there. So welcome back. Third shameless plug, get to Amazon and pick up a copy of the book. It helps the charity out, and then you'll be ready for volume 2 when that comes out. And I think that's all I've got this time. And lights, video, microphones. The videos will get better as we go.